Hello, my name is Matthew Pfeiffer with mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, I make videos about toxic, narcissistically abusive relationships. And if you have a question that you want me to answer on this channel, make sure you send it to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Again, that is justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Just make sure you keep the email 2 to 3 paragraphs max, and you're also very direct and to the point of what your question actually is. And also give me several days to get back to it. I do get several emails, and I also have a lot of other social media platforms that I need to take care of. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe notification, you hit the bell notification so you're notified each and every time I upload a new video. I upload new videos on this channel 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So with that being said, let's get into this email. So this email is from a person who is experiencing a smear campaign, not just any smear campaign. We're not talking about, it's very common when we're talking about people who are toxic and narcissistic to engage in a smear campaign. This smear campaign, though, is not coming from her ex. It's coming from the ex of the person that she's dating. And so this is a very interesting dynamic, but this dynamic is a lot more common than what people might think and what might talk about. And it has the potential to create strains in relationships if you're not careful and if you don't know what to do or how to handle a smear campaign. It can kind of take over the relationship if you don't know what to do and how to handle it, and it can apply too much pressure. And just like people talk about, pressure can develop diamonds, but it can also burst pipes. So let's get into this email. So this email reads, "Hi Matt, I look forward to hearing your answer to this question. I followed you around for a year now and love your content. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your support. I finalized my divorce last year from a terrible narcissist. Good for you." Right? I don't want to get in. I don't want to talk about she almost unalived herself due to the abuse. So good for you for getting the help necessary and getting through that situation. It can be very difficult. So I don't want to spend too much time here because that's not the bulk of the email. But I do want to say this for people who are listening to this, and it's very common for people to struggle with suicidal ideations after coming out of narcissistic abuse. And if that is something that you struggle with, number one, I have a lot of links down below to therapists that you can connect with. But I want people to understand that is very, very common coming out of toxic, narcissistically abusive situations. And so make sure that you get the help necessary if you feel that is a situation that you might be struggling with. So with that being said, let's get back into this email. "I find myself in a different scenario and am not sure how to navigate through it. I've been dating someone for nearly a year now. I just met his ex-wife." So I want to be very clear. We're talking about the person that she's dating's ex-wife. "I just met his ex-wife. She's definitely a narcissist. I recognize the behavior and verbal abuse." It's very common for people to be able to recognize and be able to pick up on other narcissists after they've experienced a narcissist themselves, right? So let's continue with this email. "He and I are serious about each other and have taken things slow and steady pace. Very good." So for those of you who might be considering entering into the dating scene, go slow and steady. I tell people, I always compare it to desserts versus veggies. When you first meet someone, and quite often you might be excited to meet them, and just like the same way that you would be excited about a dessert or chocolate cake, cookies, whatever your favorite dessert is. But quite often, if you go too fast and if you eat it and if you overindulge, right, later on, that dessert doesn't feel so good. You're not as excited as what you were before. Veggies, you're not so excited in the beginning, but guess what? They last and they're better for you long term. And so that's the reason why I tell people to go slow, right? Because what happens is that you start to pick up on some things. There's no perfect person out there. There's no ideal person out there, right? All this soulmate crap and the one crap is just a bunch of bullshit, right? Everyone has their issues. Everyone has their problems. And so what happens is that as you go through, as you start to get to know this person, you need to start to understand, are these things negotiable, or are they deal breakers? And we'll get into that into another video. But good job for you going slow and steady. Let's continue with this email. After she met me, and she describes it as an awkward situation. She ended up at the same cover band show New Year's Eve. That was not coincidence. If we're talking about a narcissistic person, that once she found out that you were dating her ex, this awkward situation where she just randomly happened to end up in the same New Year's band show, I would bet probably every single dollar I have in my account, right, that was not coincidental, right? This is a theme that happens quite frequently when you're dating the ex of a narcissist. So let's continue with this email. She messaged both of us, accusing of us of having an affair stemming more than 5 years, and I am now the reason for the divorce. This is also very common. I've heard of this situation. I've dealt with people. I've worked with people who have gone through the situation. People have been confronted at soccer games, at kids' soccer games, at kids' schools, being accused, causing scenes, right? Because narcissists don't hold the emotional capacity, right, to be able to take responsibility for themselves they also don't want to see their ex moving on because they see their ex as property, right? So the fact that she sees him successful, she sees you as successful, right? We'll get into this here in a second, but they can't tolerate it. And we'll get into the reasons why here in a second. She used the usual tactic and went public with her opinion on social media. So guess what this is? A smear campaign, right? Where she has to try to pull as many people on her side, has to try to smear and tarnish your and her ex's reputation. And that's what this is. Very common, right? Very, very common with people who are not only narcissistic, but on the cluster B spectrum. You see it all over social media, right? My ex has been cheating. I finally found his mistress, this and that. Like I caught them like making up half-truths, outright lies, right? And just seeing what sticks. And quite often these smear campaigns can be very, very vicious. And we'll talk about what to do about this here in a second. I know not to engage. Very good for you. So I remember you said that you've been following my content, so you know not to engage. I know I shouldn't be hurt. That's not true. Two different things. So I want to be very clear about the smear campaigns, about something you said. Don't engage. You're allowed to feel whatever it is that you feel. Two different things, right? So it's not that I shouldn't be hurt. If you're hurt, allow for yourself to be hurt. If it hurts your feelings, right, that she's saying these things and maybe some people are believing it and engaging in it. If it hurts, feel it. You're allowed to be hurt. You're allowed to be upset, right? But don't allow for that, you being upset, to cause you to engage and cause you to put yourself in a bad situation with her. Two different things. So let's continue with this email. I know I shouldn't be hurt, and I fully recognize what she's doing, but it still hurts, and I'm still upset. I've been open with my boyfriend on my feelings. Good for you. Good that you guys have that type of relationship. He and I communicated well through this gross situation. I am hoping to get some advice on the best ways to move forward as he and I continue to be serious about each other. His ex makes me nervous now, right? That's a good thing, not a bad thing. One of the things I tell people, quite often people will talk about how they feel a lot of anxiety when they see their ex after they've gone through a divorce or after they've gone through a breakup, and they talk about how they feel uneasy around this person after they've experienced a smear campaign, things like that. Why would you ever feel comfortable around that person? Think about that, right? One of the things that people, and we have to acknowledge, right, that there's likely some codependent traits within you because you've experienced some narcissistic abuse with your ex, right? And doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing or anything like that, but quite often we care too much about the way that other people feel and things like that, and we don't pay attention to how we feel, like we think that we shouldn't feel, kind of like what you said earlier, that I shouldn't feel bad, right? We dismiss our own feelings. And you saying that his ex makes you nervous now, good, right, is what I say about that. You should not feel comfortable around someone who's talking shit about you on social media, period. Right? Your body is letting you know, like, don't put your guard down around this person. This person has the potential of causing harm to you. Right? So we want to be very present with our feelings, and because our feelings and our emotions will help guide you through situations like this. Right? And it letting you know, like, don't get too comfortable around this person. Don't share things with her. Don't sit next to her at these concerts when we're running into her and things like that. Don't get too comfortable around her. That's what your body's telling you, and you need to listen to it. Right, let's continue on. There's one more sentence, so let's continue on with this email. I appreciate you asking for questions, and I can't wait to hear and continue to learn to grow. So far so good. So you know not to engage, right? So let's talk about the reasons why we don't engage. It's very difficult for people not to engage in the smear campaign, and the reason why it's so uncomfortable for people to not engage is because people care far too much about what other people think about them, and they care too much about how other people feel. We need to get to a place of acceptance, right? Not only with the people that this person is sharing the information with, right? That you are, I'm sure she's saying that you're a whore and that you're a mistress, that you wrecked their marriage, right? That if they have kids, that you did this, because she's probably saying these are the common themes in these type of situations. You were jealous of her, so you tried to rip her man from her and this and that, and make up all sorts of scenarios, half truths, outright lies, right? Very common when we're talking about smear campaigns. So when we talk about, I want to talk about it from both perspectives. So let's talk about it from the narcissistic perspective for a second. Here's the reason why they do it, right? So they have very black and white thinking, right? They don't have enough emotional capacity, right, to be able to take responsibility for their own feelings and for the negative feelings. And so they need to project onto other people how they feel. Right? There's jealousy, there's envy of her seeing her ex move on. She thinks of her ex as property. And what I want to really get to is this scarcity mindset that narcissists have. When they see their ex, whether it's you, and for some people who might be the ex, when they see you having any level of success, whether you start to date someone new, or if you get a promotion after the divorce or after the breakup, or anything positive happens in your life, because they have a scarcity mentality, they literally think that you took success away from them. They think that there's a limited amount of success. So when they see you with success and they already think of you as property, they literally feel like you took something from them. And we have to remember that narcissists have a sense of entitlement. So guess what that means? They also feel like they want to attack and shame you for taking their success. There's no way, right? When a narcissist, I think so highly of myself, there's no way that you could have achieved that without either somehow causing damage and harm to me or having some sort of success without my support and without my help. So if you didn't have my help, then you must have done something wrong to me. And in this situation, you must have cheated. There's no possible way that this person could have moved on and be happy without causing me harm, because there's only so much success that can go around, so to speak, right? So with all of that being said, you're doing the right thing by not engaging, because let's pretend for a second that you do engage. Here's exactly what's going to happen. It doesn't matter what you say, and you've experienced this with your ex. It doesn't matter what you say, everything is going to be spun and it's going to be spun around. Let's say that you sent messages and showing that you guys didn't meet until after they had already separated or whatever, proving the fact that you guys didn't cheat, right? What would a narcissist say? You're lying. You doctored those up. I can tell that these have been edited, right? They will make anything up, right? That's the reason why relationships with narcissists don't work. They will spin the narrative, right, to create whatever narrative that will fit and suit their needs, because they want to make sure that the world around them fits whatever lie, right? So there's nothing that you're going to do to engage because the narcissist wants the chaos. They don't even have a desire to even know the truth. They don't even want to know it. They have no desire, right, to know the truth, because guess what? That means that they would have to come down off their pedestal and acknowledge that, guess what, I'm wrong. And through your experience with your ex, right, same thing. They're not going to admit that they're wrong. So they don't have a desire to even know the truth. So engaging in it won't help. It will only make things worse, right? And then let's talk about the people that this person is. Let's say that you tried to convince the people that her audience, right? And try to convince them that she's lying, right? People who are engaging in this, quite often, sometimes they might be a bit narcissistic themselves. Quite often they struggle on, it might be on the cluster B spectrum as well, with some other disorders similar to narcissism, borderline personality disorder. They could be narcissistic themselves. They could struggle with codependency and other issues, low self-esteem, right? So let's talk about the people that are kind of on the fence, that kind of engage and kind of think that this is kind of fun and bouncing around the back and forth and the gossip. Are they really your friend? Think about that for a second. Are they really your friend? Are they really your ex's friends if they're running information back, or if they're kind of laughing and giggling? If they can sit there and listen to lies knowing that these things aren't true and sit there comfortably, are they really your friend? I make it so for those of you who don't know, I actually have a full course on smear campaigns, and one of the things I tell people and I teach people, right, is the smear campaign. You can make an argument, a strong argument, that it's a blessing in disguise, because it'll tell you who your real friends are, people who are engaging in this, not your friends. It's uncomfortable. So then let's talk about how this actually feels. Going back to what you mentioned, how painful it is, right? You have to understand good mental and emotional boundaries. People who struggle with codependency, people don't like it when I say this, right? I've gotten in trouble. I don't want to say in trouble, but people get upset when I've said this on other platforms, right? But codependents struggle when they want everyone to think good of them, right? And it's actually a control issue. You're trying to control, right? When you don't want to rock the boat and you don't want to set boundaries with people, and you want everyone to think good of you. You want to control the way that other people think and the way that other people feel about you, right? They're allowed to think that you're the villain in this story. You have to let go of this control of wanting everyone to think of you as a nice person. They're allowed to think that you're a whore. They're allowed to think that you're a bitch. They're allowed to think that you're the mistress and this and that. It doesn't make it true. But the reason why I'm telling you this is because the things that you try to control end up controlling you. You trying to control this narrative, right? You trying to, if you were, not saying that you are, because you said you're not engaging. If you were to try to like circle back and talk to people and this and that, right? That ends up taking more of your energy, more of your time, less time with your significant other, right? And then it becomes the bulk of your conversation. And just how we open this up, guess what? That pressure starts to break this relationship, right? Rather, you should be spending more time with him, more time with loved ones, right? To help soothe with your true support system, the people who don't believe and don't engage in this, right? And start to really spend time with good quality friends, and start to practice good, healthy mental and emotional boundaries. They're allowed to think and they're allowed to feel whatever it is that they want about you, right? And you pay attention, you pay closer attention, because the same way we mentioned that your feelings will tell you everything you need to know about her, their feelings towards you tells you everything you need to know about them. Remove those people from your life. Create physical distance and reduce the amount of time if any of them are mutual friends. And so that's how, and so people don't like sitting in that discomfort, right? People a lot of times want to take action, right? Sometimes inaction is the best action that you can take in situations like this, because they have nothing to play off of. They want what she actually wants is she wants the chaos. Don't give it to her. She wants you spinning out of control. She wants you upset. She wants you to go back on social media and to defend yourself, and then she's going to try to do things back towards you and try to spin what you just said and things like that. She wants the chaos. That's all she wants, right? So the way to end this game is to not play. So thank you very much, and thank you very much for writing in. It was a great question. Anyone else who would like to write in, if you have questions for me, make sure you send it to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Again, that is justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. If you would like for my help, all of my links are down below. The fastest way to work with me is to connect in my Toxic to Triumph community. We meet several times a week, and you can, so it's not one-on-ones, but we meet with multiple people, and that way you get the validation that you need. You can ask questions anonymously, so make sure you check out the links down below. With that being said, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video.